Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome to a new chess strategy and tactics video. So in this video we'll talk about a very specific topic that bothers I think many beginners when they start to play chess. Today we'll talk about the lack of development as a huge positional problem in the early stage of the game in the opening stage. And I've prepared 4 beautiful examples that show really the problems of the lack of development. I would really love for you to participate actively in these examples because I'll set up some positions and then you have to find the best next move, the best solution of that particular position. So let's see now the first example. It's an amazing gameplay by Lev Aronin against the Kantarovich, in which we have to say it, black and white haven't finished their development so far. Look at this, the knight on g8 is still there, the bishop on f8 is there, the knight on b8 is there. Black has to be now very active. Black has to finally get his pieces out, secure the king by castling, and maybe battle somehow against this annoying central pawn control of this pawn. So then afterwards we have to somehow compete against this massive pawn storm that's coming. So in what you should not do in this types of positions is to break and enter in the central board, because there is a certain rule in chess that says when your king is stuck in the center, never break the center, never let the position explode. And that's exactly what happened in this particular position, because black had now many chances. You can play knight to f6, e6, maybe knight to c6. Every of this move is playable, I think, but black broke the rule and break and entered here with the move d5 and allowed here white to recapture on d5. And now comes another blunder. Here we have bishop to d5. And my question is here now, what would you do now in this particular position? Pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for white. White wins with the specific idea here. I think white wins with an amazing tactical shot, and maybe you'll see the best next move, but I think the follow-up is the hardest one to find. So as I said, try to solve now this beautiful chess puzzle. Okay, here is the problem. The queen is a little bit overloaded to the defense of the bishop. The bishop took now the pawn on d5, but now we have this aggressive idea. Queen to a4 delivers a check, and the problem is now you cannot cover with the queen. If you play queen to d7, it will simply pick up the queen, and the queen was the key defender of the bishop. So after knight to d7 or king to d7, we will pick up the bishop. The game is over. The same thing happens if you play knight to d7, then you have lost the connection between the queen and the bishop again. The game is over. So in order to stay in the game, you have to play bishop to c6, but now the follow-up is the hardest to find. Again, maybe just for fun, try to see now the best continuation here for white. Pause the video. Okay, the winning idea is really a brilliant one. Knight to e5, even sacrificing the queen, because after bishop to a4, we have this stunning idea. Bishop takes f7, and it would be a beautiful checkmate delivered by the bishop and the knight. So in order to stay in the game, black needs now to play the move queen to c7, protecting everything, but this is not working. After knight to c6, d5 is going to happen. If you play, of course, queen to c6, then bishop to b5 is winning the game. So that's why you have to take out now with the knight, and now after move d5, it's game over. You can maybe deliver a check, but we cover with the bishop and you can resign immediately. So see how dangerous it was to break and enter here in the position without castling. It's a suicide mission here for black for sure. So let's see now another example. We have here a beautiful position played by Wilhelm Steinis against Reiner, in which again we have the king in the center position by black, and again we should apply now many principles in order to punish this kind of play by black. So again, pause the video, try to see now the best continuation here for white, and then also try to see the follow-up, because maybe you'll see the next best move, but the follow-up I think is again the hardest to find. So pause the video and try to solve now also this particular position. Okay, when we have this kind of position, it's very important to include more attackers into the game. We cannot just play with our queen. That is, of course, very active here in the center of the board. The queen is controlling the center. This pawn is also an annoying one, controlling also many squares, many escape routes for the king. So black's king is really stuck now. But in order to win the game, we have to include more attackers into the game. So now bishop to g5 was Wilhelm Stein's next move, and his opponent tried, of course, to simplify the game by trading off the queens. But as I said, now the follow-up is the hardest move to find. So now pause the video and try to see now the winning idea here for white. Okay, the brilliant idea is again a beautiful queen sacrifice with rook to d1. If you pick up the queen on e5, then you get checkmated with rook to d8. There's no escape route for the king. Everything is covered. The game is over here for black. So after move rook to d1, after rook to d1, you can maybe prolong the game with the move queen to e6, but now again bishop to c4 or a rook to d8 are winning the game. You can maybe play rook to d8, the king comes here on f7, and now we play a brilliant bishop to c4, deflecting now the queen from the defense of the f6 square, and after queen to f6 it would be again a beautiful checkmate. You can also play instead of this move bishop to c4, you don't have to play rook to d8 immediately, but now whatever black does, it's game over again. We'll simply pick up the queen. You can maybe cover with queen to e7, but again it's not working. We'll simply play something like knight to e4. Look at this, knight to f6 is even winning the game. So again, messed up game here for black. Again, queen to the e5 is of course not working. You get rook to d8, a beautiful checkmate. So many dirty ideas are here present for sure. So rook to d1 was really the brilliant idea by Wilhelm Steinitz. So let's see now another example. Again, we have the king in the central position. The king is stuck on e8, but at least in this scenario, black played aggressively so far with the minor pieces. But you see, I think even in this position, you see how dangerous it is to play aggressively in the center of the board without securing the king by castling. And in this example is an amazing gameplay by Alexander Alichin against Oscar Tenner, in which again we have the king in the central position. Again, pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for white. Again, maybe you see the next best move, but the follow-up is very hard to find maybe then afterwards. Okay, here Alexander Alichin, really the legend of the sport, played an amazing knight takes e5, sacrificed the queen just in order to get a huge activity. And of course, if you don't pick up the queen, then you simply lost a piece. Oscar Tenner accepted the challenge with bishop to d1, but now comes a beautiful tactical sequence. So first of all, bishop to f7. Of course, whatever you do, if you play, for instance, king to f8, then bishop to c5 is winning the game. You can maybe cover with the queen, but now bishop to d6, c takes d6. We first pick up now the bishop. You can also pick up the knight, but now the knight is hanging on h5, and this is obviously game over. White gained too much material. White has an extra piece, has also many pawns more. So now we play castling or simply attack the king. So the game is over. So after move bishop to f7, you can play, of course, king to e7. Now we deliver, of course, again a check on c5, not on g5, because maybe then black can cover. So that's why bishop to c5, getting the king towards outside of the board. We have now a beautiful king hunt, and now kingside castling is again winning the game. Whatever whatever black does, pardon me, it's game over, because after king to e5 we have this idea. Rook to f5 is also winning the game. If you go with your king here to g5, then again we have this pattern. Bishop to e3, you get again toward outside of the board, and now a brilliant idea is the move rook to f5. Look at this, there is now the threat of rook takes h5. Whatever you do, g3, bishop to f2 are threats. You can maybe play g6, trying to cover everything, trying to disconnect the bishop from the attack of the knight. But now bishop to f2, you can just maybe cover with the knight again, and you get even checkmated by the pawn move h takes g3. Really wild stuff. Beautiful king hunt here by Alexander Alichin. But the most important move to recognize was, of course, this idea, knight to e5, punishing black's lack of development, punishing black's king in the central position. Amazing stuff here by Alexander Alichin. So now we have even a tougher one. We have here a beautiful gameplay by Mikhail Chigorin against Amos Byrne. In this particular position, again, we can notice that we have now the king in the central position by white, and we should punish this position immediately. So again, pause the video and try to see now the winning idea here for black. Black moves and wins the game. Okay, in this types of position, you have to now break and enter in the center. There's simply no tempo should be lost here. You have to be aggressive as a monster here. So if you play something passively, white will simply get out of this mess. Maybe we compete here with bishop to e3, then he'll simply castle. I'm not saying maybe this is the optimal position for white, but he'll get out of this tactical mess. So that's why in order to keep him here in the center of the board, you have to play now first of all move d5. If something like e takes d5 happens, then you have also the opportunity to break and enter with the move e4. Maybe you lose also this piece, but now white is getting destroyed tactically on the e file. So that's why in the original game here, Mikhail Chigorin played the move bishop to b3, and now the follow-up is again a hard one to find. So again, maybe pause the video and try to see now the winning idea here for black. Okay, here the idea is a brilliant one. Bishop takes f5, letting the pawns roll here, because if you play e takes f5, e4 is going to happen again with the same motif, break and enter, opening up the e file. You can maybe play something like king to f1, but now we simply pick up the piece. Knight to e4, maybe you can play something like queen to g3, again we simply attack. You can also play something like knight to d3. So many opportunities, but the most important thing here to notice is that white will lose many pawns, and the king is stuck in the center. Again, maybe you'll reach the fully endgame stage, but this is in my opinion game over. Also knight to f2 in some lines is working, so game over for white for sure. So in the original game, after bishop to f5, bishop to g5 was played. So here Burn got challenged by this bishop's activity, but of course we have here d takes e4 continuing the pressure. We have d takes e4, bishop to e4 here was played by Burn. Even if you play bishop to f6, we'll simply pick up also the knight. You can pick up the queen, we'll pick up also the queen, and after a couple of trades of pieces, again notice black gained 2 extra pawns. Again, in this kind of an endgame, this should be completely winning here for black. So after move bishop to e4, queen to c4 was now Chigorin's continuation, but now queen to d5, simplifying the game. In the game, bishop queen to b5 was played, and now bishop takes bishop to f2, deflection here by the king, and also a double attack against the queen. The queen gets endangered in this particular position. Mikhail Chigorin resigns. So really amazing ideas. The most important thing here to notice is this breakthrough motif with the move d5. So whenever your opponent is stuck with the king in the center, try to let the pawns roll, try to open a position here. Burn showed his great attacking skills. So okay, I hope that you enjoy these examples. These are really interesting ideas, cool tactical approaches. Never forget about the piece activity, including all of the pieces into the attack. Never allow your opponent to break to secure the king by castling when he has maybe lost some development in the beginning. So punish him for this kind of play. In my opinion, these 4 examples were really brilliant that showed this kind of a problem in an early stage of the game. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the study. If you want to see more about the opening principles, middle game strategies, and endgame strategies, you can check out our Basics in Chess series and also my Become a Master in Chess series. Here are the links of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.